Beatrice, with all due respect to Mzalendo Kibunja, whom I would think has got another name other than Mzalendo. I don't know. It must be, your mother did not give you the name Mzalendo, must have given you. Historically, you have another name. And if you tell me that I can talk about it without actually also looking into your history, very difficult. The Nubian land in Kibera. It is land that was given to the Nubian people after being involved as troops for the colonial government, and initially they might have come from the Sudan. So it is not basically the Nubians who might be interested in this land. You have got also the Maasai who might be interested in this land, and people, the Kikuyu might say they have got an interest in this land, and the Kambas might say they have got an interest in this land. We have got 4 national groups which might say they have got a historic claim on Kibera. And therefore, when you have a draft constitution on the table that says that instead of taking us forward, it will take us into Kenya 1900 when we had a population of 2 million people. And now you have got to 40 million people. I don't know how that article can be operated without looking at the history, the migration of the national groups. And if we go into that, we are going to miss the boat. The world is going on, and we start looking backwards ourselves instead of focusing ourselves on the future. And this is one of the reasons why we are actually opposed to this constitution, because on my count, we have got more than 33 errors, very clear-cut errors. Like when you say you're going to enforce rights under this constitution, and you say if a court is involved, it is supposed to give an interpretation that does not give effect to the act. That is Article 20. It says a court should give interpretation to this draft constitution and the section on human rights without giving effect. It is very clear it must be a mistake, because the court should give interpretation that gives effect to the section on fundamental human rights. So why can't we be able to come together and sort out the history, sort out the errors there are, and also see that we have got a draft that will be accepted, because I can see we going to the 4th of August and having very many people who, if the draft were to go in to become the law of this country, many people might find it difficult to accept it.
Let's look at the issue at hand here, though, Mzalendo Kibunja. Look at the issue at hand here. What are your fears as the Commission in relation to your clamping down at this point on the people that you're calling perpetrators of hate speech? Yes. What are your fears?
Very real, I can tell you, and because if you look at what happened in 2005, very simple example, the kind of SMSs we were getting, disparaging some communities, and we used to laugh at it and say, this is just a joke. But very clearly, even the commission that was formed to try and investigate what happened, very clearly says some of those things, people took them and believed them. And the violence that we had in 2007, 2008 were mostly informed by those messages that we were getting. And I remember one vivid picture that I saw at one person cutting each other several times, and he's down completely, not because he had robbed them, not because he has taken a cut out of them, not because he has done anything wrong, just because he belonged to a different tribe. And our fears is, we're saying, everybody, every Kenyan we meet, he says, never again next time. But then, do we say it and not do something about it when we know what went wrong? This is what we're saying as a commission, that we must stop those things that we know, lesson learned, that this is what made us to go that direction.
Is the no campaign, is the no team concerned that certain utterances or utterances coming from sections of the populace, be it the yes or the no camp, could be actually quite divisive?
I think we are concerned that whatever we say that we feel is legitimate and should be said, especially within certain clauses of the draft constitution, instead of being accepted by the yes campaigners. Instead of the yes campaigners who also appear to, who control the strings of government, instead of they taking seriously what the no campaigners are saying, they are finding it easier to take the mallet and clobber us and take us to court, when my view is that they're just trying to create a side show, so that the time that is in between now and the 4th of August, will run out before our people have had enough time to address the issues that are very tragically put in the Constitution, like the presidential powers in the draft Constitution. How do you have a president who is going to have a cabinet that is not elected by the Kenyan people, and that cabinet is going to tax the Kenyan people? So we find this is a side issue. The first 2 weeks of the debate around the Constitution, now, in fact, Mzalendo Kivuja is on record as having written to His Excellency the President, asking him to stop the talk around the Constitution until the 13th of August. No, I mean, it might be the 13th of July. That is when you want the Constitution to be. That is only 3 weeks before the vote on the 4th of August. And it is very tragic that a document that has got 80,000 words, it has got more than 260 articles. It has got all these provisions that are so controversial. You don't want it discussed by the Kenyan people openly. So this is one of the side issues, introducing the hate speech, the propaganda, the verification bit. Before that, we had the national security issue, the question of certain words being again inserted in the draft Constitution. Instead of us getting an answer, again, that matter has been put on one side, and the side issues are the ones that have been now put on the table by the yes campaigners, because they don't want us to deal with a substantive document that is on the table and which Kenyans should know inside out.
Dr. Kibunja, this is a sideshow.
Well, I mean, if I take the recommendation that we made to the President and the law, if you read section 25 J and M, says if the Commission finds out there are activities or administrative acts that are injurious or are likely to affect cohesion and integration in this country, we are allowed by the law to advise government. And in fact, it says advise government. And what we said is that since the civic education plan started rolling very late, you remember the committee of experts had problems getting the money, that why don't you allow the committee of experts, and it's not the committee of experts doing it anyway, is their partners, people who applied and people who have experience in doing civic education, teach Kenyans about this, inform Kenyans this constitution. Then, once that has been done, bring in campaigns now to decide to tell Kenyans which side you want them to vote. Because what these campaigns are doing, they are polarizing us completely. And we are worried as a commission that they may polarize in a way that we may not be able to retrieve back to become this united Kenya that we are. And it's on basis of that we made this recommendation, which is a recommendation. The government may decide to accept or not, and we have no recourse, and it's up to them.
It's a tragedy that instead of us getting national cohesion, and I can see I've got a very good publication there on national cohesion and also integration. Instead of getting integrated in this country, we have some drivers who feel and believe that they have got a right that is more than what the ordinary Kenyan has in the vote. Every Kenyan has got one vote. There are some people who believe maybe they should have 2 votes, and that is the tragedy about it. If I say that some people might, it's true historically, there are some people in this country who have enjoyed 3 votes when people didn't have even a single vote. So what I'm saying is that we are driving in the wrong direction. We are driving on the wrong side of the road. And instead of our sitting together and get a constitution that will be acceptable, and in fact, even respect the one that is there. Because what is happening now, when you take people on hate speech and other propaganda and verification language, which was actually introduced in this country in 1930 by the Penal Code. That is when the Penal Code was first introduced in this country. Myself, I've actually been arrested in the past, in 1981, for sedition. And I find it's basically the same language that is now being disguised as hate speech. What I said then was called sedition. What is being done today is just call it hate speech. It doesn't make a difference because these people have been taken to court. One can be sentenced tomorrow to 6 months imprisonment or fined 1 million shillings. So what I'm saying is that we are not getting cohesion. Madam Zaledo Kevuja, we are not getting integration. What we are getting is more hate and abuse of power.